only time I'm going to ask you all for the rest of this service to stand to your feet is if you hollering back at me while I'm preaching, okay? I welcome every scream, every fit of rage, because there's going to be a few over the course of this series, okay? So that's all I needed. Chris, you got to be here every Sunday, okay? I need my take your time corner, and we got to impart that into the whole house. If you hear something and God is speaking to you, you can scream, holler out. You can say, ouch. Let's just practice that one real quick. Ouch. Okay. All right, because we're starting a series today as a relational series called It's Complicated. And over the next 4 weeks, if God willing, the aim is going to be for our belongers beyond and for those in the room, for us to talk through relational complexities and the challenges that some of us have or are having or have had as it pertains to relationships. Now, how many of you all are in a complex relationship right now? Never mind. Don't even hold your hand up. Let me preach us into it, okay? Let me preach us into it. All right. So I don't want anybody to feel like they got to be quiet, okay? I'm giving y'all permission. I want y'all to talk to me. We're going to go to Judges 16. Judges 16. And we're coming out the gate swinging. Judges 16. Even the babies are like, amen, I'll take it. Judges 16. I'm going to start at verse 15. 15. I'm going to do it in your hearing. And then, there we go. Y'all ready? It says, then she said to him, this is Delilah speaking to Samson. Then she said to him, how can you say I love you when your heart is not with me? You've deceived me these 3 times and have not told me where your great strength is. And it came about when she pressed him daily with her words and urged him that his soul, this is so important, his soul was annoyed to death. I'm going to wait. I ain't going to preach it yet. I'm going to wait. So he told her all that was in his heart, verse 17, and said to her, a razor has never come on my head, for I've been a Nazirite to God from my mother's womb. If I am shaved, then my strength will leave me, and I will become weak and be like any other man. When Delilah saw that he had told her all that was in his heart, she sent and called the lords of the Philistines, saying, come up once more, for he has told me all that is in his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up to her and brought the money in their hands. She made him sleep on her knees and called for a man and had him shave off the 7 locks of his hair. Then she began to afflict him, and his strength left him. She said, the Philistines are upon you, Samson. And he awoke from his sleep and said, I will go out as at other times and shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had departed from him. Then the Philistines seized him and gouged out his eyes, and they brought him down to Gaza and bound him with bronze chains, and he was a grinder in the prison. Verse 22 is very important. I can give all y'all hope. However, the hair of his head began to grow again after it was shaved. Everybody take a deep collective breath. Smile at me now. It's going to be fun. Y'all be ready to talk back to me. This Sunday morning, I'm talking for a very simple message topic we're calling treasure or trauma. Okay? Treasure or trauma. Treasure or trauma. All right? And in the next 30, 35 minutes, I'm going to try to pull some points, not just out of this text, but out of Samson's life, that I'm hoping that we will all be able to see ourselves in, so that we won't be judgy when other people find themselves in it. Because I think it's amazing how we can quickly criticize other people's complications without giving notice to the complications in our own lives, okay? So let me start here. I think relational complications happen at every level. If you're single, it's complicated because you're trying to figure out how to work through platonic relationships while simultaneously sifting through your DMs, while simultaneously living up to the questions and the expectations of everybody in your family when you're going to get married, and wondering God, did you forget about me all at the same time? For those that are engaged or seriously dating, gets complicated for you because now you are learning and beginning to learn somebody that it could be serious with. And then you have to discern in all of this seriousness, is this somebody I can really spend the rest of my life with, or am I settling? And simultaneously, in the space of platonic relationships, how my other relationships are evolving while this relationship is evolving, and how do I balance it all together? Is this the year that we get matching pajamas? Or is he/she not matching pajama material just yet? For those of us who are married, there's still complications there. Because the person you said yes to at the altar is not the same person you're with today. The person that you're with has grown, changed, evolved, as well as your other relational dynamics. And while you still love them, you've got to learn them over and over again. But I would dare to say, y'all, here go your deep breath, that some of our most complicated relationships don't start because we were reckless. They start because we were unhealed. And when your heart, there we go, that's what I want to hear. Give me a talk back, church. Here it is. When you're unhealed, everything looks like treasure, even if it's a fraud. When your heart is not well, everything looks like the right thing. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about platonic ones. I'm talking about familial ones. You will find yourself in seasons and situations where someone literally has to tell you, you do know that's dysfunctional, for you to even realize that you have been functioning so well in dysfunction that you thought this was just how everybody did it. No, everybody's family ain't throwing bricks at their head, okay? Some stuff ain't normal. Matter of fact, every relationship, you ain't getting cussed out every day and getting called out your name. There's nothing normal about that. But when your heart is unhealed, it's not that you are making reckless decisions. It's just that you've made some unhealed ones. Now, just to get a good gauge of the room, how many of you all can honestly say, I've made one or two unhealed decisions? All right. Matter of fact, I may have one or two at home too. I may have one or two unhealed relationships in my life right now. I kept them because it was comfortable, not because they were called, and there's a difference. And in this, here it is, at this big age, I don't want people around me just because they make me feel good. I need the right people at every space and every juncture of my life. So many of us didn't choose poorly because we lacked prayer. We chose poorly because we lacked clarity. You prayed about it and felt peace, but you weren't clear about what you needed. And so when you don't know what you need, everybody looks like a solution. But when you're clear about what God is doing in you, through you, and for you, you'll stop taking whatever shows up and you'll discern rightly in prayer. I appreciate your help, but your help is not what I need right now. Matter of fact, you're not a devil, you're just a distraction. So over these next few moments, I'm going to break down the difference between treasure and trauma walking through Samson's life. And I'm hoping by the time we get to the end of it, some of us will be able to identify what are our true treasure spots and what are the things that we've taken on simply because we've been addicted to trauma. Y'all ready? Take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out. We're going to walk through this together. I'm going to walk it through real slow, okay? Judges 13 opens up with God sharing with Samson's mother, who has been barren, that he's about to break the barriers of barrenness. And because he knows that the earth needs a solution and the Israelites need a solution to combat against the Philistines, he tells Samson's mother, you're about to be pregnant, but when you get pregnant, pay attention. I don't want you to drink any strong wine, and when the child is born, I never want a razor to touch his head because he's going to be different out the womb. God begins to share with Samson's mother that what she's carrying is treasure. Here, if I were doing a pointed message, this is probably where my first point will come in. Treasure is assigned, trauma is inherited. So what God does from the moment your mother and father came together, God knew that there needed to be a moment for synthesis in your mother's womb, because there was a treasure that you were called to carry that the earth needed to see. Everybody shout it with me, I'm a treasure. You ain't trash, you a treasure. And I don't care what they said about you or what they think about you. I'm telling you, if you're living, moving, breathing in this room, there's treasure on the inside of you. You're assigned treasure from the beginning of time, meaning God gives your life purpose, destiny, calling, and weight before you ever breathe your first breath. Now, the challenge is, on the other side of being born, you're going to inherit somebody's trauma. And if you're not careful, you will think that the trauma was womb-based when it was really wound-based. God didn't birth me or put me in my mama's womb to be birthed in trauma, but what I inherited after I came out of the womb through life situations and life seasons, some that you had no control over, is what created the trauma that you now see, feel, and know. But from the beginning, God called you a treasure, right? From the beginning. Your parents didn't even have to have you in mind. God had you in mind. And when he put you in the earth, he put you in the earth because, everybody shout it with me one more time, I'm treasure. Treasure enhances who God created you to be. Trauma distorts the way that you see yourself. And so for many people, because you're working through a distortion, it's hard for you to see the treasure that God really put on the inside of you. That's the whole reason why I wanted you to come lay your visions at the altar, because I just want to remind you, God still speaks to you, and he speaks to you because he treasures you. And there's treasure on the inside of you. Trauma doesn't ask, is this good for me? What trauma asks is this familiar to me? How many of you all have found yourself in the same season, same situation, different year, time and time again? Different name, different face, different relationship space. It might not be the same job, but you feel the same way you felt at the last one. It's familiar. And the challenge is that for many people, we become attracted to what's familiar, and we don't know how to detach from what we know to see what we're really supposed to know. Am I making sense? Because if you're not careful, trauma has a way of disguising itself as desire. Better yet, take a deep breath. Trauma has a way of disguising itself as chemistry. And because we vibe, and because they make me feel good when I'm around them, we assume, and this is romantic and platonic, we assume it's got to be God sent. But the truth is, there are moments where your trauma will make you feel desired when it's really completely against the will of God. Because, hear me, Samson was powerful, but Samson was unregulated. The problem was not Samson's strength. The problem was Samson's lack of life regulation. Can I ask y'all a question? What regulates your decision making? What do you use as your metrics to make a decision of, I'm going to do this or I'm not? Let me do a simple one. Like, what regulates your decision to go to the gym or not go to the gym? Did I go too far? All right, let me stop. That room got real quiet. Isaiah was the only one talking back to me at that point. Here it is. Let me go here. What regulates your decision to go to work or to stay home? Everybody say real quick, bills, right? I got to pay bills. What regulates your decision to commit to an event, then the day of, say, I don't know if I'm going there. Now let me go to the gym. What regulates your decision to buy hundreds of dollars of workout clothes that you wear around the house and now you got glorified pajamas? I would dare to say that for many people, where we live in life is what we'll just call unregulation. And unregulation only happens where there's no discipline. And no discipline is only born from the place where there's no decision. So if I don't know how to say no to something that I really want and I do it anyway, it's because I lack discipline. And when I lack discipline, I really lack life regulation. And take a deep breath. I don't want you to date, marry, or befriend anyone in this next phase of your life that doesn't know how to regulate themselves. Here it is. Take a deep breath. Everybody shouldn't have to tell you to take a bath every day. It's part of life regulation. Here it is. It's life. You know you stink. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just like, I'm going to get to the word. It's just life regulation. But I'm going to take it a step further. If you're still at the space where people have to ask you, did you pray today? I would rather have, hear me out, a stinky prayer. Somebody say, wait a minute, listen to me. Because I can teach you the discipline of washing yourself. But there's got to be something inwardly that says, I want God more than I want anything else. He's first in everything in my life. So I want y'all to understand this. Where there is a lack of discipline and or discipleship, this is where believers have strong gifts but no governance. And Samson's life is the perfect example of this. I'm going to say some stuff that's going to be controversial in a few moments. Just ride with me. Samson, we know through Scripture, was one of the strongest men to ever exist. The Bible never teaches about him having one muscle. He had supernatural power that people didn't even know and or understand how it came on him. He was highly gifted, but he also had weak governance. Simply meaning, if he saw something and liked it and wanted it, he went after it. He had no regulation. He didn't know how to tell himself no, and the people around him didn't know how to tell him no either. Hear me? This is why, for this next moment and this next season of your life, you got to have people around you that love you enough to challenge you. If you're just going to go along with everything I do, I don't need you. I need somebody that's going to say, hey, can we take a few moments and pray about this before you just make a decision? Matter of fact, maybe you shouldn't post for the next 3 weeks because you posting, your mouth is reckless, so your posts are going to be reckless too. Better yet, maybe we just need to have somebody to say, your post ain't as subliminal as you think. We all know who you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, because real relationships are going to help regulate you to keep you from doing stuff you ain't got no business doing anyway. And I want to be sure that the treasure you're finding is not relationships that say yes to everything that you want. Some of your need for affirmation from people is a trauma response too. Because nobody ever told me yes at home. I need people around me that'll say yes all the time. The devil is a lie. God's going to send you the right people that know how to affirm you when necessary, but also know how to critique you when necessary, and you're going to be able to handle both of them. Tell your neighbor, grow up. Because hear me, you can be anointed and be misaligned. You can be used powerfully by God and still be a poor decision maker. You can win battles publicly and lose your integrity privately. This is why you don't just need people you call treasure that say yes to everything that you do. Better yet, some of y'all need to open up applications for new friends again. You said no new friends, and that's why your life has been the same way for the last 5 years. You need someone in your life that's going to challenge you to do something different, to live different, to talk different, to discipline your life differently. You need somebody that's going to give you a little pushback. You should get tired of just walking on people at some point. At some point, you should say there's something in me that needs structure, okay? Because Samson didn't lack strength, he lacked structure. All right? Now, here's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to the 16th chapter, but I'm going to flip back to 14 as well. I'm going to flip back and forth. Y'all ready? Take a deep breath. Y'all come here. Y'all want to know, when I read the 16th chapter, what really jumps out to me? For centuries, Delilah has been the misfit in this scripture. Y'all, Delilah is not the problem. We, for centuries, have called women who did not act and or respond in a way that we saw becoming Jezebels or Delilahs. Walk with me for a moment. Y'all, when I read this text in context, Delilah is not the problem. Samson is. I just want to take a moment. Can I do this real quick? I want to free every woman who has always had to shoulder the blame for stuff you had nothing to. And I just want to go ahead and say it's okay that it wasn't your fault, all right? Let me tell y'all why Samson's the problem, y'all. Let me tell y'all why Samson's the problem. I got to tell y'all why. I got to go to my next one. Y'all, Samson is the problem because Samson's issue did not start with Delilah. It started with his Philistine wife. He saw a woman that was fine. He went home, told his mama and daddy, go talk to them. I want her. And when he said he wanted her, his daddy said, are you sure? Because can't you find a woman amongst us? He said, I want her. And the Lord told Samson's parents, do it because I'm going to use it. Now hear me. Just because God uses it doesn't mean it was what God wanted to perfect in you. I think the beauty is God can use the mess that we make and still work a miracle out of it. But there was always a better way that we could have taken. I just want to take the better way the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? I don't want God to have to use my mess to teach me a lesson and make it better. No. I just want to go, everybody shout it the better way. Now here it is. Y'all, here it is. So Samson's about to go get his bride, y'all, right? And on his way, there is a lion. With his bare hands, he kills a lion. He passes back by the same spot, and he sees the next day that bees have started to make a hive, and there's honey on the inside of the lion, the carcass. So at his wedding feast, he makes a bet under the influence with the Philistines who were at the wedding. He tells them a riddle and tells them in 7 days, if y'all can figure out this riddle, I'll owe you 30 garments of clothes. But if you can't figure it out, then you owe me. He tells the riddle, and they cannot figure it out. The wedding feast is coming to an end. The Philistines go and talk to his wife and tell his wife, you've got to get Samson to tell you what he hadn't told us so that we can win the riddle. I'm giving y'all layman's terms, all right? Samson's wife goes and says to Samson, now, you've told this riddle, and you ain't even told me the meaning of it. Samson said, I didn't even tell my parents, but since, here it is, it says, she started to annoy him to the point of death. And when he got annoyed, he spilled his guts. And he told her the answer to the riddle. Now, why do I need this for reference? What you see in Judges 14 is the same pattern you find in Judges 16. Samson, unregulated, doesn't know how to respond under pressure and divulges more than he's called and or assigned to do. So he begins to share his heart when he feels the pressure's on. But I'm going to take it a step further, because it wasn't just his wife. The Bible says in Judges 15 that Samson saw a prostitute by a tree and took her and said, hey, let's go to your house as well. Samson just had a little woman issue, all right? Samson got a little weak in his knees, as SWV would say, right? He had an issue with women. I don't think Delilah is the villain, but she had access to what Samson had not fortified. You can be called, but unfortified, anyone can access your private places. When you haven't made the decision within yourself to what you're going to say no to and what you're going to say yes to, pressure will always cause you to break and bend under stuff you were never supposed to move for. Better yet, how many people have got the best of you just because they were persistent? And I'm saying this, y'all hear me? Because Samson is not just a man. Samson is every one of us in this room. Delilah is not just a good-looking woman. Delilah's a six-pack and curly hair and whatever the locks, if you will, whatever you like. Delilah can be whatever it is you like. My question is, how many people have worn you down just because they were persistent? And you knew from the jump you were never supposed to be there. You knew from the jump I should have never answered that DM. You knew from the jump I should have never went out with him. You knew from the jump I should have never befriended them and let them get this close. But persistence opened the door that wasn't fortified on the inside of you. Because when you're fortified, you know who you're willing to give access to, and you're not afraid to say no to people that you know ain't got no business there. Can I go ahead and just give y'all permission today to go ahead and kick everybody out that ain't supposed to be there anyway? And I'm not just talking about blocking them on a device. I'm talking about removing their space in your heart that they may still have you ensnared where the right message will pull you back in. Because hear me, the enemy can't break what's secure. And when you're fortified, you're not easily broken. You're not easily broken. All right. So take a deep breath. Here it is. Here it is. Y'all, 10 more minutes. I promise I'm done. Some people that show up in your life, it's not that they are God sent. Some people that show up are a mirror of your present state. Some people are the reflection of what hasn't healed in you yet. So if the same types of people, and I'm not, again, this is not just romantic, this is at every level of relational connection. If the same types of people are showing up, the question is not, why do they keep coming? The question is, what's going on in me? Can I give y'all an example? If everybody that shows up, you got to rescue. Like at some point, God got to send me somebody whole. Like at some point, somebody got to have God, dog. Like at some point, somebody got to have a credit score at least over 600. I ain't even asking for much. At some point, somebody got to want to leave the country and go somewhere. I'm tired of going to JJ's. Love it to death. I'm tired of going to JJ's. I'm sick of Chick-fil-A. I want to. going to take it a step further. If you are everyone's dumping spot, you haven't discovered treasure. You found people that will link with your trauma. You are not everybody's psychiatrist. You don't even have a degree in it. You've got great discernment, and we thank God for it. Put that discernment to work and put up some walls so that if you don't like what keeps showing up, change what's in your heart. If you don't like what you consistently see and the same patterns keep repeating, that's not bad luck. That's a lack of regulation internally. All right? So you've got to, because hear me, here it is, y'all. We don't choose people, we choose from places. Here's what I mean when I say we choose from places. I'm going to prove it to you with Samson. When we're not healed, we don't choose people the way that they show up. We choose people based on the space that's been traumatic in our hearts or lives and allow them to fill a space that matches the space that's already broken. From the first time Samson's wife cheated on him, he had a wound with women. And he kept picking women from a wounded space. My question is, what are you picking? Let's not talk about Samson. Let's talk about you. What is you picking? Is every relational level in your life the fruit that you would want to see in existence? Okay, here it is. Let me talk about my house. Let me talk about my family, just so everybody can. I want to disarm y'all for a moment. All right. There has been a space like here recently where we have had to address the idea that when people show up, we often find ourselves trying to help them out of spaces they hadn't even tried to pray themselves out of. You know how dangerous it is to try to rescue somebody that don't even know they're drowning? If you're not careful, you'll drown trying to save somebody that don't even know they're going under. And then you get bitter with everybody when the truth is you did that. Here is how I know Samson was unregulated. I'm going to my last major point. Here's how I know Samson was unregulated. There's not one time in Scripture that you find where this strong, anointed man ever took time to pray before he made decisions. We've got 4 chapters on Samson. Not one. The only time we see Samson pray, he done lost his eyesight. he about to die. Tanya, he's standing between 2 pillars, and he said, Lord, give me strength. Just one more time. Give me the strength to make all this fall. The only time we see Samson pray is when he's about to die. My question for you is, how many people have entered your life because of your poor prayer strategy? Because hear me, trauma does not want healing, it wants familiarity. Treasure wants you healed. Trauma wants you familiar, and there's a deep difference. There's a deep difference. Okay, here's my last thing. I think the most tragic line out of this entire text was, put it back up here for me, Judges 16 and 20. Judges 16 and 20. Let me give you all this real quick and I'm done. It says at the 20th verse, the Philistines are coming upon you, Samson. He awoke from his sleep and said, I'll go out as other times and shake myself free. Y'all want to know the most troubling part about this whole text? God left and he didn't even know it. Y'all, just walk this text real quick. A razor had never touched his head. For decades, his hair had grown in weight and strength. But in a moment where he needed his strength, he tried to pop up like he always did and didn't even realize the weight that he once one's head have been removed. There is nothing more challenging than God, because here's what you learn. God doesn't often leave suddenly, he leaves subtly. Your decisions start drifting you away from the presence of God. It's not just all of a sudden God is gone. You have been making consistent, calculated decisions that have made you drift away. And then one day you wake up and just like, I'm anointed again. And you shake yourself and realize what you once had ain't even there no more. It's gone. It's gone. He did not know that the Lord had departed. Is your life so filled with trauma that you haven't even realized the presence of God is not first? Is your life so dysregulated and you're just so used to getting God in on Sunday that you forgot, man, Tuesday I hadn't been feeling him like I used to. Man, my time in his presence is getting shorter and shorter. You don't wake up overnight powerless. It's something that drifts very slowly. Verse 22, put it up there one more time. But you're going to have a chance for the hair on your head to grow again. God is too good to not give you another chance to find treasure. But what I want to be sure is that when it happens, your trauma responses are regulated to the degree that though I remember what I went through, I don't make decisions from there anymore. Okay? Here it is. I didn't have a dad, but when I'm looking for relationships, I'm not trying to find one either. My mother didn't affirm me, but when I'm looking for relationships, I'm not going to fall for any woman that just says, I got it together. My siblings hated me, but I'm not going to just take on any friendships that want my provision but don't want my presence. My question for you right now, are you picking from a healed treasure space, or are you still making decisions from a very traumatic one? Here it is. Healing doesn't start with who you date or who you befriend. Healing starts with the way you see yourself. You don't choose treasure by accident. You choose treasure by formation. All that means is Romans 12:1. I'm willing daily to let the Lord keep forming me into who he's calling me to be. And I think for every relationship in your life, every relationship, I want you to ask yourself 3 things this week. Does this relationship strengthen my obedience or weaken it? Does this person honor what God entrusted me to be? And am I choosing from wholeness or from wounds? And this week, I want you to be okay with allowing the Spirit of God to start to heal the wound. To close the door to what you don't need so the door can open to the right thing. You don't know what's on the other side of the right door if you'll close the wrong ones. And just because they have need of you doesn't mean you have need for it. This is your time to discover the treasure. One, there's a treasure. You're a treasure. What Paul says is that God put treasure in an earthen vessel. Your treasure. Your treasure. But then he says, don't store your treasures where thieves can break in and steal and moth can corrupt. He says, but take your treasure, put it in a place where thieves don't break in, moth doesn't corrupt. Put your treasure in a sacred place. Simply means when I realize who I am, I hold that sacred. And I don't give everybody access to every parts of me, including social media. Some of y'all need to go ahead and just take one more social media fast. You're either posting too much or scrolling too much. And your algorithm is a mirror. Let's stand. Come on. Your algorithm is a mirror, so break the mirror. Break the mirror. Your algorithm is a reflection of where your heart is. Your algorithm is a reflection of where your heart is. Fix the mirror. Y'all, and I'm going to say this, I'm done. Y'all, Fanika and I share social media accounts. I've got her password. She's got mine. And I was on my phone, and I thought I was on my IG. And David, I couldn't figure out, well, every doggone page I looked at was somebody decorating a Christmas tree. I would scroll, somebody has wallpaper in a house. I mean, got hundreds of thousands of likes. Everywhere I scrolled, it was, I'm like, what is happening? I don't even like looking at this stuff. And then when I looked at the bottom and saw her little cheesy face at the bottom, I said, God, dog, I'm on the wrong thread. I was about to reset her whole algorithm because I'm like, I don't watch this. What are you entertaining that you know is more toxic for your soul than it is developing it? And more than anything else, what is God trying to form in you in this season? What's God trying to do in you that until you get the trauma out, he can't do the work? The vision's going to come to pass, but there's also some work you got to do while it's coming to pass, and he's going to heal the trauma. If this message hit anybody in between their eyes, just throw your hand up. I ain't going to even open the altar. Throw your hand up. Just throw your hand up. Look around, look around, look around, look around. You're in good company. You're in good company. You're in good company. All right? Put your hands down. Here's your discipleship moment for this week. Make a change. And it don't have to be a big change. Everybody thinks change is huge. No, make it an incremental. Right? One thing we value here, we call it first. That God is first in everything that we do. Before I scroll, I got to find him. Before I cook for my kids, I got to find him. Before I go clock in on somebody else's job, I got to clock in with God and myself to be sure when I go here, I don't tear nobody's stuff up today. Right? Make small changes, and small changes heal trauma too. Every eye closed, every hand on hearts, your own heart. Because you've done enough of trying to heal others. Let me pray this prayer to help you heal you. Father, for every place that our own hearts and lives have been out of alignment, where we've trusted our trauma more than the treasure you've called us to be. Today, forgive us. We've got complicated relationships in our lives. We've got people that have been around. We've got people that we've entertained that made us comfortable. But now we're asking you for the called. Send people into our lives that are assigned to what you created us for. Rid our lives of people that want to keep us comfortable and in chaos. I declare the regulation of every chaotic moment under the lives and in the lives of every believer under the sound of my voice. And I declare that this week, they're going to discover the treasure that's in earthen vessels. And for that, we love you, honor, and thank you. In Jesus' name. Jesus' name. Now, if that was for you, give God one great big. Grab a hand now. Grab a hand real quick. We're done. I'm out. Today, you're holding the hand of treasure. That's treasure in an earthen vessel you got your hands on right now. That's something that is the apple of God's eye. That's someone who heaven favors greatly. But the hand you're holding may not see the goodness of God or the favor that is on their lives. They may find themselves at a crossroad today. Today, we want to meet you at that crossroad. If you've never said yes to Jesus, and you've been running, you've been wondering, you've been hoping to find him, and you just haven't found him yet. And today, in the midst of this service, God did something in your heart, and you say, you know what? I'm ready to make that decision. On the count of 3, I just want you to squeeze that hand that you're holding. I want you to squeeze it so they know without a shadow of a doubt, it's me. I need him, and he's calling me. 1, 2, don't let your trauma speak louder than the treasure that's on the inside of you. 3, that's you just squeeze that hand. Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. If you felt the smallest squeeze of someone's hand, do me a favor. Walk them down right here to me. Bring them to me real quick. If you felt the smallest squeeze, let's go. Come on, let's go. Belong. We can celebrate a whole lot better than that. Anyone? Okay, they still coming. Let me give them a second. Come on down. Come on. All right. One more time with every head bowed, every eye closed. We're going to pray this prayer together. Say, Lord, today I believe that Jesus died just for me. I believe that he came into the earth, hung on a cross, died on the cross, and 3 days later came up out of the grave with all power in his hand. I confess with my mouth that Jesus is Lord, and I believe in my heart that God raised him from the dead. Today, I am saved in Jesus' name. Now, if you prayed that prayer for the first time, and for everybody that did pray for the first time, can you help me thank God for them?